as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Abu Bakr proved his truthfulness to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in multiple ways and on multiple occasions. But he is Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu because he affirmed the truth as soon as it came to him at all times with absolutely no hesitation. It was probably easier to believe if you were speaking to the Prophet ﷺ or to the community at the time, not to the Prophet ﷺ, speaking to the community of the Prophet ﷺ, it was probably easier to swallow the idea of something supernatural happening in the background than something that seems so materially convincing as conversion, domination, coming over to us. Let's take ourselves as Muslims today. It's easier sometimes for us to think about miracles of the unseen than to believe in the possibility of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unseen that's right in front of us. I can talk about the meaning of the Quran, the meaning of the souls, everything that's happening. Maybe there's doubt about us, whether or not victory will come with such despair. Sometimes it's easier to believe in the unseen than it is. And Allah said that's not changing the function of the unseen. That's why this was a miracle in two ways. A miracle of the start with the moments of conversions. The mockery of Christians comes. Really. Conversions. You claim that it's Allah. Claim that you're on the run, you're following, you're trying to escape. And these people are on the run. And they're about to lose this battle once and for all, decisively. And here you are being explained. Keep in mind that this is the now that the world is talking about what will stake your entire responsibility on something that seems so politically impossible. And especially given a timeline of 3 to 9 years. Why stake the entire credibility of your prophet is the one speaking the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the main. And so the next one knows exactly what's going to happen at the time that is temporary. What does he say? He says, intelligence which shows why did they go to Abu Bakr right when so many as soon as they survived? See what he's claiming? At the same time, he has this dedication to the so they put this here we say. What do you say? I believe it. I believe it. That's one place to go. 10 camels. If the Romans don't include the Persians, 3 years. Very important here, by the way. Putting is not so they that's their income medicine. There's no risk here because there's no uncertainty for this that's been revealed. So think about it and say, well, I have uncertainty as a book of Allah. Was speaking the truth. As he's reading these situations, first of all, the gun is extended. He said, how about we extend it, raise his hands, go ahead, extend it, raise his hands, raise it to 100 camels. 100 camels, literally talking millions of So things are getting much worse, Abu Bakr was as the Muslims are about to get digital, the arrogance of Ubay ibn guarantee my bets. It's almost 9 years. And I thank you for so he's a guarantee. He's a guarantee of 100 counts. As they the same year that the Muslims make Hijrah to a planet, it was and he beats back the Persians. The Syrians are the same year of but of course the greater meaning was that the Muslims as Ubayd is making his way to Uhud, Abdurrahman says, I need to be a guarantor for the 100 camels you owe my father. And it would just so happen that Ubay ibn Khalaf would be the only person in the history of the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ killed by the hand of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ as he pursued the Messenger of Allah ﷺ on the day of Uhud. And he swore that he would kill the Prophet ﷺ, rather the Prophet ﷺ said, rather I will kill you. And as he was coming to the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ sent a spear towards him and snaked his neck. And he said, what's wrong with you? He swore that he would kill me, and indeed he would die from that wound. The one man killed the head of the Prophet. The Prophet said, people on the day of judgment. Was killed by his prophet, by the man of the Prophet. Imagine being the one man on the day of judgment killed by man was so let's get back to the seerah now, and let's now go to the Islam from the viewpoint of the Prophet. In the year 619, and he sent him the terms. And Islam responded and said that the only thing I can accept is that you come to me in chains as a worship. Being the clear, that they used to worship of the God. So he rejected the terms. The most desperate year of was the year 619. So this is where we come to the light of the Prophet is solid with the hands of the first Byzantines. The year of Greece, which is important to understand the context of Islam now. You cannot fully appreciate the ascent of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in al-Islam al-Mi'raj without fully appreciating the difficulty of our person. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the matter that verily the march comes down to the march of these. So from that we extract that extraordinary march what the Prophet was going to experience of ease was extraordinary. But what the Prophet had suffered from hardship was also extraordinary. And this journey that's about to be the lesson of Allah is not being khasa'is of the Prophet, the specialties of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What this means is that there are certain things that are only equal to him alayhi sallam. So So for example, by the hand of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was the greatest miracle. It was the miracle of the romance that was and to be taken and justice, body and soul, from the captives to the heavens and back, on the same night, the Bismillah, the days of Islam, never came out. Isa went, but he reached the limits, as we'll talk about, and then he didn't come back many, many years later. SubhanAllah, the scholars talk about this restoration of the world, and the heartbreak of the Prophet as being one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared the heart of the Prophet what makes it what it actually is, the year of faith, what it is more than anything else. Is that the Prophet representing the emotional support of the Prophet of the body, representing the physical support of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not take those two people away from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As the scholars mention, gifts. And before he took away, he had reinforcements. Before he took away these two people that were so fundamental to his that he was going to face. So you can imagine this happened but the fact that he grew in attachment to the Quran, to his qiyam, made him equipped for what makes it as well that every single had been shot to the Prophet that he could materially figure out. If you think about it, as now a man who's the same thing, and the place that the Prophet is the alternative in Prophet to go to and to be prepared for the same place that the what did he say? He says, first and foremost, if you want, it's something else. Then please stay here in safety until meaning an Abyssinia-like arrangement, a Habasha-like arrangement in Ta'if, where I can at least just be safe. I don't have to preach here. But the Quran can continue to come to me. And he said the last thing, at the bare minimum, if you're not going to take me in and believe in me, or if you're not going to take me in and protect me, just don't tell the nobles in Mecca what has happened. And of course, the people of Ta'if, instead, unleashed on the Prophet the greatest viciousness, the greatest rejection, the stay of his life. Allah said, this incredible night was preceded by what we call the stay of his life. And he said, Allah rejected these people, and everyone seems to be short. Meaning every viable part to victory in the spiritual sense seems to be short. Medina wasn't even the picture of the Prophet yet. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give the Prophet this great miracle. This is mentioned here that this is also the blessing of all glory be to the one who took his on his Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa to the greatest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's gifts. Allah is a when he speaks about his people, his servants for his slaves, his Nabi, his Rasul, because themselves. We are a nod of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zakaria mentioned the words of the Lord to his slave Zakaria. And here, to his slave, from the heavens in that single night. Materialize or manifest. They depend entirely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Messenger of Allah describes his affair in this regard. And the pain of the Messenger of Allah, and he was sleeping that night reading Psalms. It's one narration. Who is the one? They went to who she is. Does anyone know who she is?
Rashid wins.
She's the daughter of Abi Talib. She's the sister of Ali radiallahu ta'ala. And Ja'far radiallahu ta'ala. She's the sister of Ali radiallahu ta'ala and Ja'far radiallahu ta'ala. And she is the daughter of Abu Talib. So because Nafi, which means bird that spreads, so she is the person who prophesies the ones on the night for the start of the Prophet. Some of his fathers actually see it, but it could be practice. That this was the Prophet obtaining holiness. This was da'wah out of a fear of his life. Allah was rotating holiness. He finds himself who happened to be very close to the Kaaba. Very close to the Kaaba. This is the only family. So they occupy homes in a local territory. And this is where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam possessed the hadith of the school of Allah ta'ala. That Atani Jibreel alayhi salam. Jibreel alayhi salam came to me. That he came to me. He was dressed in green garments. Green garments that were purpose. And green is the color of the people of paradise. It wasn't uncommon for Jibreel alayhi salam to come to the Prophet in this way, to descend upon the Prophet in this dress, represented a special occasion. Jibreel alayhi salam, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this time, he was taken the Prophet's house for a second time. The Prophet's out. The Prophet's was a child. The Messenger of Allah, he was. This time, he was the Prophet's and the Prophet's trusts the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this regard. And the scholars mention multiple wisdoms of this happening. Number one, they say that the scholars was for the Messenger of Allah being concerns for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In his da'wah, this represents a meaning chapter that everything pertained through this. They also say that the Prophet was being fortified for the magnificent journey that he was about to take against his heart was that it had never been and so it was being prepared, the spiritual that was necessary for that moment. Of course, there's also something that Jibreel alayhi salam took the heart of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He took the heart of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They said, "No, that this is the person of evil this time, as he walks the heart of the Prophet sallallahu in a holy vessel, he poured something into that vessel. He poured the Prophet what is the risk of having a man and a woman against the vessel? against the Muslim. The ulama mentioned that you can never get enough of. You can never get enough of these things. And so when Ibrahim alayhi salam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a miracle,
Now, find a new rival.
do you not believe? Ibrahim alayhi salam said, of course. So my heart can be further at ease as it goes.
Welcome to the
The faith can be divided once and the layers of faith. You never reach You're always trying to and if you think about what shapes this faith is all from a perspective. I can't understand why someone else. I don't understand why
And after a fierce battle,
where you could see the extent of your eyesight, every step of that end was to the extent of your eyesight. What is that end? What's it called? Knee.
Rashid wins.
To that
Round one. Where do you go?
This was the
I am the turbulent.
and then he told that this was the end from Palestine, and in fact, as Ibn Kathir rahimahullah this is the animal that Ibrahim mounted with Hajar from Israel from Palestine to Mecca. And dropped off Ismail and then came back. That this was the animal of the passport that Allah gave to Ibrahim between Palestine. So now, the journey of his greatest son is on the long way. To Palestine, with Hagar, the same animal. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mounted it, he said that Ibrahim alayhi salam was with him. He set off. first place. You get to a place and so I got down and I prayed.
Wins.
What was he praying? I want you to think for a moment here, because this is very important, that the 5 salawats had not yet been legislated. And subhanAllah, that gives you some context to the moment. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha knew that Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha died before al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. She said because Khadija radiallahu anha did not live to see the 5 salawats. Can you imagine? Khadija radiallahu anha never prayed Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib and Isha. Our mother Khadija radiallahu anha did not live to see the legislation of the 5 prayers. She didn't live to see the fasting of the month of Ramadan. This is all foreign to our mother Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. She had already assumed her rightful place before this even happened. The Prophet ﷺ knew al-qiyam, and he knew the general times of prayer. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he would pray 2 rak'ahs at different times. So he got down and he prayed 2 rak'ahs, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Where did he pray? Can anyone tell me? This is so profound and so important. The Prophet ﷺ asked Jibreel alayhi salam, where am I? Where did I just pray? He said, this is Tayyibah. This is the place of your hijrah, the place of your migration. So of the blessings and the virtues of the night of Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj is that it's the first night the Prophet ﷺ prayed in Medina. Allah Azza wa Jalla showed him Tayyibah on that journey. In this authentic hadith, he prayed 2 rak'ahs there. And to tell him that this is the land of your hijrah, you thought it was Ta'if. But this is where you're actually meant to be. Where one door closed for you, a much better door has opened for you. This is where you will be directed to, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So that's the first time he prayed in al-Madinah al-Munawwara. The second time, he said, we went to a place and I was told to dismount and to pray. And I asked Jibreel alayhi salam, where did I just pray? What did he say? He said, this is At-Tur, Sina, where they're trying to push our brothers and sisters from Gaza in today. May Allah Azza wa Jal cause their plot to fail. But what's the significance? Jibreel alayhi salam tells him this is At-Tur. This is where Allah spoke to Musa alayhi salam. And in that to speak directly to you as well. Musa alayhi salam was spoken to by Allah. Prophet was spoken to in a far more superior way. This is something the Messenger of Allah that miraculous conversation is possible for you as well. Now, in another hadith, the Prophet passed by the grave of that night. And where was Musa buried? This is where I need to start making connections. The red dude right outside the gates of the right outside the holy where he was prohibited from. The Prophet says, I passed by his grave and I saw him standing up praying inside his grave. You see? So I saw him praying in his grave. And then we continue that on. The Prophet said that it was to dispense and to pray. He said no. He said this is where he said into the world in a miraculous way in that position. SubhanAllah, Jibreel alayhi salam was the one who was there with Maryam. And now to be the same as I saw, this is where Isa alayhi salam was so just as there would be a miraculous coming into Islam. The Prophet was a center of this world. So some of the scholars mentioned others mentioned this is simply a succession. Towards the Messenger of Allah, that he is the one so the one coming from the house house of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And he prayed 2 rak'ahs there, by the way. Next to the Kaaba. So he prayed 2 rak'ahs there. And then, where Isa alayhi salam was pointing out the Rusul. Nabiyin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the seal of the Prophet alayhi salam. And then, he makes a page. Being taken to Jerusalem first. This is such an important thing. And if this journey was merely about everything that happened in the heavens, then Allah simply could have taken the Prophet to the heavens and said, why bring him from the to the Quds? And then there in Jerusalem, instead of just taking him directly towards the heavens. And so the scholars mention a few different reasons. Number one, they say, these are the first 2 places that were built for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As in the authentic hadith, أَيُّ مَسْجِدٍ وُضِعَ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَوَّلٍ, which masjid was constructed first? Masjid al-Haram. ثُمَّ أَيْ, and then which one? The Prophet said, Masjid al-Aqsa. كَمْ بَيْنَهُمَا, how many years between them? 40 years, he said. So the first 2 places of worship, whether it is the first construction in the time of Adam alayhi salam, and then Sheikh alayhi salam, or Raf'ul Qawa'id, the raising of the mountains. For Ibrahim alayhi salam, 40 years between them, but the first 2 constructions, 2 scholars mention. These 2 places, and he built for the worship of Allah in these 2 places. In the first place of Mecca, he sent his son Ismail alayhi salam. In the second place, he said his son Ismail. The Prophet gave him the Prophet the leadership of the children of places. And in that also, the 3 holiest places, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would pray for all 3 of them in the same night. Medina and Qudus. That journey, we were taken to 3 masajid. And in one night, the night was journey, the Prophet he prayed for all 3 locations. So this is reminded that the Prophet according to the Judeo Christian tradition, this is where he makes the this is the direction of prayer at the time of the journey. Walk there as near to the Qibla as possible. And in that is a simple and how to bring the Prophet nearest to him in this dunya and in the hereafter. I'm sorry, nearest to him in this dunya as well as in the heavens. Because the Prophet and then he brought nearest to Allah subhanahu wa and you're going to the direction of your prayer. This is right? But to know that this is the direction that I prayed, and then to occupy a spot, to occupy a line, right there, is because of the virtues of the Salah that is there. The virtues of the mentioned that during the Sulaiman that we get virtues that here to pray this place like the day that they gave birth to them. So the virtues of the Salah there, the virtues of the place of Beit al-Maqdis, Abbas of Allah Ta'ala mentioned that this is the place where the prophets lived. So this is the place of ascent for the Anbiya, the prophets. The sixth wisdom that the scholars mention is that all of the prophets that the Prophet ﷺ is going to meet in the heavens have a centrality in Palestine. They all have a story in Palestine. And this is very important when we come to the part 2 of this lecture. The Prophet ﷺ did not meet every Nabi in the heavens. But everyone he had a conversation with had a centrality in Palestine, had a centrality around Beit al-Maqdis, around Jerusalem. So he would meet them. The scholars that mention the seven that this is the place at the end of times when the Dajjal is and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala establishes clear picture of this was a turning of the age of the prophets and the prophets. And finally, they mention this place, the place of assembly, where all bodies will go to assemble for being reckoning before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That takes the believers to the place of paradise the Prophet was brought to, the place on earth that we walked into, when he went to the heavens, be the one stop for us to open it. As it tells paradise where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes قال جبريل بسرعه فخلق pointed with his finger onto a structure, and he tied the same angel who washed the heart of the Prophet area where the sins, can anyone tell me where it is? Modern day construction person. What's the call? The only structure that was standing at that time in that area was the Western Wall, was the Byzantines alone. The Jews to win on the wall once a year to so Iraq is tied in that area. The strongest narration is that the Prophet prayed 2 rak'ahs, first by himself, just like he did in the other areas. Then he saw something like he was something ever seen. Gathered for him, waiting for something. Can you imagine? Seeing all to lead them in Salah. Hafid ibn Kathir rahimahullah says, وَجَمَعَ اللَّهُ لَهُ هُنَاكَ جَمِيعًا to finish. According to one narration, that's 24,000 prophets, which he is the last of all prophets. But he gathered great desert a sign that he was the greatest Imam sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was a sign, symbolism of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He wished to lead that prayer. As this is your brothers and sisters of tonight. Before we go, to the ascension. In that journey, the prophets who lived in that place was Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ismail alayhi salam. They for that masjid, as he built that masjid. And also, in that place were prophets who were forbidden from that land, like Musa alayhi salam, who wasn't able to enter into it in his lifetime, but there he was standing in Al-Aqsa, next to Sulaiman alayhi salam, next to Ibrahim alayhi salam, next to Dawood alayhi salam, next to Isa alayhi salam, ready for that salah. And so all of them had a different story with that place, but they were all there behind the man sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's pointing to you that they pushed me forward until I led them all to salah. Last week I talked about where one day Isa alayhi salam and they were walking to keep the ranks. And it's Isa will say, but it was for you that the salah was called. Go forth. Isa was here at school. He waited for God. And now this time Isa imagine they say he was wild. Bricks. To write your love and see. Continue to show us. Speak about this to the prophets of Allah. They could not prevent the prophets of Allah in his time. Transcend space and time by man. The transcendent in the minds. Because everything is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His regards and just as we think about it, we have ascended to the heavens of Shuhada and any other place because of Shuhada. And there are also sins in our time of Shuhada, perhaps in any other part of the world, that before you blink your eye, this world will bear the heavens to meet their order to the sins of Shuhada. It's difficult to loss of health. So, spiritual may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala under his favor us their needs Palestine and all of the surroundings of the occupation, oppression, love, hate, mixer! Oh yeah! Come to me!
Rashid wins!
Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're useless. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you don't have a chance to earn the mercy of God. You trust because that statement affects and impacts people negatively. It's not true at all. So, God is excited to be here in your midst, in the beautiful city of Bismillah. I decided to start this beautiful piece of advice for myself and to yourselves. Every one of us desires to grow in a positive way, be it connected to the country life or your connection with the Almighty that will help you in the here and now. You deserve to know, and there will be growth, and there shall be. I was a baby at one stage and so big. If anyone were to tell us you never going to grow, if anyone were to tell us you're going to be 2 years old or 3 years or 4 years old, you know what? Time can defy that statement by the sweet water and even today, a human being which will sit here yet there was a time when we were asleep with our parents or guardians. In the same way, we are facing challenges upon challenges across the globe. To be a Muslim is not so easy. To be a woman as Muslim is not so easy. People say, speak up. I say, leave it alone. The Almighty God is easy. You are from the left, they hear from the right. And they say, when people begin to recognize their beliefs, it becomes so difficult to realize that I need to keep going. I need to have principles. I need to understand. Understand because he's I never understood you and I as a portion of it. Where you have to surrender, believe in the mercy of Allah. First days to you understand it speaks. It does not mean that it can last because it never lasts. Negativity does not last.
Rashid wins!
Like any time of my life so far, but I have hope because I'm a believer. I'm convinced that in the same way, daybreak follows the darkest hour of the night, the darkest time of my life shall be followed by the brightest light of that daybreak. Be convinced. How many of us have been through days where we really thought we were not going to make it? How many of us have been through times when we felt perhaps we won't find a job, or we won't get something suitable, or we won't be married, and today we're seated here with children. May Allah bless you and your children. There may be from amongst us those who don't have those children. Trust me when I say the Almighty chooses and tailor makes your gifts, designed for you, knowing what is better for you holistically. So if you don't have one thing, you have to have 10 other things that others don't have. It's just a matter of you taking a moment to focus, to look at how you have been blessed. Because every single one of us is blessed differently. I have what you may not have. But trust me, you have what I do not have. That's a fact. You know it or you don't. Unfortunately, in the material world, success is gauged by how much money you have. And fortunately for a believer, we do know and we are convinced that that's not everything. Because had wealth been directly connected to the pleasure of the Almighty, the wealthiest of the lot would have been none other than Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him. But he went through challenges. He lost in his life his own children, one after the other. Was he not loved by Allah? He was loved more than you and I, more than anyone and everyone. We call him Afdalul Khalqi wa Akramur Rusuli, the best of creation, the most noble of all prophets. That's what we call him. That's what we believe. That being the case, he went through challenges. He went through hardship. People spoke negatively about him. Won't they speak negatively about us? Would that not then be a sign of the love of the Almighty when you face a challenge? I look at it from that particular angle, that when the Almighty says, I've created you to test you. When we were young, we used to wonder, what is it all about? But I promise you, as you grow older, you realize from the moment of birth, you are being tested, and those tests become meaningful once you hit puberty. And thereafter, you're on your own, because now the angels begin to write whatever you say, do, whatever you are. Directions. We have something known as deleting the bad that we may have done in the past. So therefore, don't lose. You never, no matter where you've been in the past, the past did exactly that. It's the past. So Muhammad, peace be upon him, went through challenge upon challenge. They said things about him. They called him a sorcerer. They called him someone who's just after money and power. They said so many nasty things. Some of these nasty things they say about us. I tell you, that is a sign that the Almighty has chosen you to be this test. It's not that it's mostly a challenge. They give you so I see that of the Almighty. Saying that the Almighty created us to test us when we were young. We didn't understand what that meant. As you grow older, my brothers, as you realize that King all the time. It happens according to the design of the Almighty. When Almighty Allah has chosen something for you, sometimes the path to success starts off with lots of negatives. Because when God is beautiful, it doesn't come to me. I see people here, rich people from Zimbabwe, before I know. And I tell you, my brothers and sisters, life there is rough. It makes you streetwise. It makes you able
Rashid
to make do
wins.
with whatever you have. We say, make a plan. Just make a plan. If the electricity goes, for example, people continue speaking like nothing's happened, right? Because they're used to it. Why are you used to it? Because it kept on happening. Whereas, if you were to go to a place where that doesn't happen, they'd probably be frightened of the dark. Do you see? Similarly, when there's no water in the tap, no one's upset. They make a plan. When the traffic lights are not working, they make a plan. When there are no jobs, they make a plan. This is just an example. The reality is that hardship actually strengthens you in a way you did not imagine. Don't look at it as negative in totality. It's only as negative as you'd like it to be. That's what it is. Our sisters, for example, will have on both sides, this extreme and the other. You have the Almighty also. You have the you need to realize my connection with my Maker. It's my own relationship with Him. It's nothing to do with anyone else. I better make most of my days with Him myself as the days pass. I consider good reminders as being decent, as being helpful. But when someone else is beside you, don't take it or not. They don't know any better. They don't know your struggles. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know that you're walking in shoes. They don't understand the resistance in your life, the challenges for whatever you want to become who you are today. They don't know all of that. That's the man. But those who doesn't know how you ended up where you are today, they will judge you. That is much. So I have two things to say about that. Number one is the Almighty knows your relationship with Him should be exile only. Give me strength in me to get to I know that I need to back for you. I trust you. To guide me, to strengthen me in a way that I need you. One day, you are pleased with me. Made you, Allah made you. He knows you personally, He knows your struggles, He knows your pain, He knows your weakness, and He knows how you every sin that should not make you feel for a moment that He's no longer your God. That should not make you feel for a moment that you are so distant from Him that there is no God. That's what see others. If you see people struggling, ask those statements. You won't be able to understand what we were saying today. Yes, those statements you were to encourage someone struggling in their businesses, not only them, those the Almighty may create a situation where you are belittled at some stage. You are jeered. The opposite will be created at some point. You may face that as you feel that it will change completely. So when you see someone struggle, please pray for them. And it becomes a challenge. Feeling towards them. You may see someone doing something that you believe should be in terms of something is to expose them and to belittle them and to make sure that everyone knows about it. Then you need a lot of help, my brother, my sister. You're genuine enough to understand that we all have weaknesses. We all do. If it was our business to expose others, we would have been exposed a long time ago. If you immediately ask the Almighty, here is someone really speaking believers to care for one another in a way that you acknowledge you. The rest of us, that is, I might be standing in front of you on this podium today, but I'm not better than you. I have no struggles. If I'm standing here, my reminder is me before it is me. It's if I ever see and ever be able to learn His love, Allah is still most forgiving, most merciful. So that's why we say the two things. The Almighty is by you, is by your side, is with you. Or in keep right in your side. If you're struggling, right pain, if you're pain, the reason is, as you get believe in their issues. When people utter a statement that is negative, let it make you slide back. It's that straightforward. You have also the Almighty, like I said, you already know what's right. As a believer, I'm not here to recite what's halal and permissible and prohibited and what's obligation and what's not just law. You know that. But I'm here to encourage you to say, this is this. Give up. Let every day, like I said this afternoon on Friday, let every day be better than the previous day. Then you're heading in the right direction. And in the process, the statements of others ever discourage you from following what is right. Sometimes those statements are in the form of friends, friends, or peer pressure, people around you. What you're supposed to be doing, be a proud believer. Be a proud believer. When I say believer, be happy to be you. If you have to just listen to them, that will make a difference. I remember back in the day when I was a bed, and mashallah, I was looking forward to it. At the same time, that little bit worried. Everyone's going to say, because nobody had a beard besides one or two guys at the college events, and it's subhanAllah, it was so easy. You people say, and I remember, because I lived with it, people said, that's not right. It suddenly became cool. And I learned all of things. It became trendy. SubhanAllah. It's trendy. But back in the day, it was so much it changes things. Today you see people who do students. Please. My beloved sisters, my brothers, you know what you believe. Just because of what people may say, have said, what they say. We believe the Almighty will bless you in so many ways as a result. And not just you, but your children, those around you, your loved ones. And if He has not given you so many family members, He will have granted you something else. Look for it. Try and think, how did the Almighty bless me? Wallahi, I want to share with you something amazing today. It's a verse of the Quran, where Allah Almighty says, and I'm sure we've heard it before, but if we haven't, here goes. And if you are going to try to count the favors of Allah, or if you're going to count the favors of Allah, you will never be able to count them all. That's the meaning of the verse. What Allah has blessed you with, you will never be able to count all of those things. If you want to start right now, you're going to have to start with your faculties of hearing and perhaps your sight and whatever else it might be, your organs, your limbs, your bodies, everything, and then you broaden the circle. You'll never be able to count the favors of Allah upon you. But I want to tell you what is more amazing than that. The opposite. If Allah has tested you, you are able to count the number of tests in your life. Subhanallah. Isn't that amazing? Ask yourself, what challenges do I have? What negativity do I have? What problems or issues do I face? I swear you wouldn't be able to count them on your fingertips. You can say, I've got this problem, this health matter, this issue at home, this issue at work, this, 9 things, I'm done. But what about the billions of things that are in favor of Allah that you cannot count? Man is so weak that he becomes despondent due to 9 things that he is challenged in or tested in, and he loses track of the millions or the countless things that Allah's blessed him with. That's man. You concentrate on the one negative. It shows your body is fine, nothing wrong with it. But the mosquito's bitten you in one place. That itself is the source of depression. Why? That bite is on my nose. The whole world sees it. And I need to scratch it every little while. It's so embarrassing. Relax. You're not the first person bitten on your nose, by the way. My brothers, my sisters, reality. 1 thing went wrong in my life, 2 things went wrong, and I'm far from the Almighty. The Almighty says, no, man, I actually would like you to get closer to me. That's why there are challenges that you will face, but those challenges are limited. And secondly, he tells us, I will never burden anyone with more than they could actually shoulder. I'll never place on your shoulders more than you can cope and manage. So you can. He wants to push you. He wants to ensure that you do your best. You do better than you did the last time. Take a look at the schools that we've all been to. And many of us probably at school right now. Don't they push you with a more difficult exam every time you pass one? You get a certificate and you go to a more difficult stage. You get a certificate, a more difficult stage. So the Almighty tells us when He loves us, He will test us in order for us to gain closeness to Him even more. And when does this end? It doesn't end in this world. This world, the nature of it is that you will be tested right to the end. So much so, the last portion of your life is looked at as the most difficult portion, especially when you're old, and people say, now you're old, and you're thinking of death, and death is supposed to be, according to human standards, one of the saddest occasions ever for a person. But a believer knows that's probably the best day ever. I can't wait to see my Lord, who is merciful, kind, forgiving, compassionate, loving. Oh, I can't wait to see Him, to meet Him. I'm convinced in my heart that the day I meet the one who made me, He is not going to let me down. Oh, He's not going. How could He let me down? Shaitan will come to you and make you think for a moment, you know what? Look at the sins you did. Look at what you did. My brother, my sister, that's your past. P-A-S-T. That's what it is. It stays there. It will not come with you further. If you seek the forgiveness of the Almighty, it's wiped out. The one who sought forgiveness from a sin is equivalent to the one who didn't sin. Because Islam is based on forgiveness and the mercy of the Almighty. When the Quran starts, or when you want to begin recitation, what do you say? You seek the protection in Allah from shaitan, the devil, the accursed. And then you say, Bismillah ar-Rahman-ir-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious, the most beneficent, the most forgiving is included in that because it's part of the mercy of the Almighty. Doesn't that show you that the Almighty is most merciful? So we keep going, my brothers, my sisters. We're living in a world where materialism definitely has taken center stage, without a doubt. Everyone is dazzled at times by the lights, the bling bling, mashallah. The latest of everything. We all follow the latest of something. Even if it's just mobile phones, but it's still the latest of something.
Here comes a new challenger.
In the interim, the Almighty says, it's not wrong to have from this worldly life what might be to your liking or comfort. On the condition that you don't lose track of the basics and where you are ultimately heading. You will learn a life so that I can have those. I need to see silence. I also sit and organize. Inshallah, they and they will start paying for it. They will start taking ideas and implement my kids will it's the eternal. It's not a monetary payment. It's participate in your worship of goodness. Help you better your hereafter. Something that can be I read that Surah Al-Layl, and it's the extension of the person who will be protected. And the one who will achieve ease in this world and success in the hereafter. This is وصدق بالحسنى فسنيسره لليسرى. The ease that he speaks about is given to people certain qualities. One of them is why? Because he wants you to be selfless and not selfish. When you're selfless, you begin to consider the generations to come. You preserve that which you benefit from. It's always a jariyah, which means a jariyah that is what you did lasted longer than you were reading on earth. So what is you continue to your date of death? It's a jariyah. What was it? It was concern for the future. That's what it was. If you said to yourself, beautiful project, it's Islamic intent, I'm not mistaken, beautiful project for the future. MashaAllah, I was pleasantly surprised to see such concern for the generations to come. I'm thinking to myself, us will continue to be for those who made it happen. Death, peace be upon us, says, which is that kind of charity that lasts longer, that lasts longer than you can live. And that's one of the few things after your death. So the concern of the future today here at this beautiful evening where Shubin Appeal and its work is highlighted. Surely we should consider what's going on in this year. Because the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, tells us that your struggles, what will help you is when you help others struggling in a similar way. So you're struggling. You'd like to see your children succeed? Yes. Well, the same way you have about the children of ours. Question. If it's only about you and your children, it's going to be tough. But if it's about our children, we're going to succeed. It's going to be made much easier for all of us. Concern for others. Definitely you are. So that's the way. Peace be upon him always. Us. You want the help of Allah. You want the help of your neighbor, of your mentee, and others. He says Allah will continue to help a servant, a slave, a person, as long as that person continues to help another. When you see helping someone, he is helping you. In your school, as I mentioned, a few of the schools, be they religious, be they connected to the school, we have these are students. They belittle you because you are there. It's materially something they have. They need the little person because when you take your smile and make your face, let it in your account. Don't let it make you insult someone. Don't hurt them, abuse them. Not at all. You continue to be you will continue to do what you have. People may say, is it going to stop? It may not stop. It may continue until the day you meet the Almighty. It's fine. He will give you the strength to continue. He will give you so much more happiness that you will really appreciate many of the stories. We still have to work. We earn, we pay. We pay bills, we pay fees and things. We pay fees for the children, they pay fees for themselves and so many things. It's all that struggle in the range and plan, the little holiday. So Allah gives you the few weeks after we have food. It was so great that we get back to reality. And then, you know, that's what everything starts again. Did you enjoy a little bit of what Allah's created? Allah says, hang on to see what I made be possible. Brothers and sisters, let's rise to the occasion. Never let anyone tell you useless because you want. You're amazing. Even else is unique. Allah loves you. He knows your destiny. He knows your challenges. He knows your struggles. He knows your tears. He knows what is going on. He knows the positives, the negatives. He knows what useless. Therefore, never tell others that they are useless, especially the children. And give them words, beautiful words, because that builds them when they're 2 years, 3 years at that age. You keep reminding them of how beautiful they are, amazing they are, intelligent they are. You kiss them, you embrace them. That is one way of peace be upon you. When he embraced his grandson, and his ways, they have given them meaning at that time, a whole being a man was kissing children. So peace be upon him. Doesn't show mercy, will not be shown mercy. Which means, give them powers. When they do something wrong, it's normal, it's natural, it's fine. They are kids, they may yell, they may scream.
Bison wins.
Behave like children. They may break things. They may say things. They may speak out of turn. They may whatever. They may make huge blunders and mistakes. They may falter in the path or on the path. It's okay. It's fine.
Here comes a new challenger.
I'm not saying leave it and don't do anything about it, but we will do it in such a beautiful way that we empower them. And I end with an example.
Got it.
Peace be upon him. Peace for the man. Peace and blessings be upon him. His companions. Any better discipline? Human nature. The question is if you should do it. It's the way we have to. It's easier relating. Finish his business. He waited for them to become busy. What is it? I need to teach this man about this. So, peace be upon him, looks at him and says, you are trying to make something that is very mercy of Allah encompasses everything. Allah says, my mercy encompasses absolutely everything. So, as I promised, the mercy of Allah encompasses you. You should keep going and understand you are all within the mercy of Allah. You need to know, you need to search for it, you need to understand it, and you need to any distraction from your love and your pace for as long as you are moving. Move at your pace, not at the pace of somebody else. For as long as you are moving in the right direction, inshallah, you are well within the mercy of Allah. May Allah bless you, bless myself, bless all of us, grant us and our offspring and humanity at large every blessing.
Here comes a new challenger. Show me everything you have. Tony! Hadouken!
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending salutations to our Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. اسم جنس أي مستجير المحتاج إلى رحمة ربه وبركاته لجنس بالنسبة للمسلم فيما يخص. This opportunity to convey the message of His Hospitality. I pray to the Almighty Allah that Allah accepts the humble efforts of yours in listening to this message. I pray to the Almighty Allah that accepts the difficulty and this in trying to deliver the message of Allah is Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It was Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in his truth. Changing and directing the message of Allah is Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My friends,
This will hurt.
the last 50 years have been indeed very, very difficult for believers in every country. For the last 50 years, Muslims have been persecuted and tortured in every corner of the world. From Guantanamo Bay in the west, all the way to China in the east and everywhere in between. Forget the blessed land of Sham. Forget the troops in Iraq. Forget the suffering for 50 years. Bosnia, Chechnya, Somalia, Burma, Berlin, in the last 75 years, the genocide of Palestine that will be taking place until in time. As you listen to this reminder, as Allah rightly says, عليكم الأرض بما رحبت. The earth in spite of its vastness has become tremendous. And again Allah rightly says, وما نقرب منهم إلا أن يؤمنوا بالله العزيز الحكيم. Because we believe in Allah. Only because we've taken Allah. That's in Yahweh himself said. This is the war civilizations. And he killed the box. And this is has been reality. Exchange, nothing will change right in the day of Yeshua. That's me, my young friends. Living in the West, we see these images that we use where even innocent children can be spared. 6,000 churches. The reality. I've been this smithereens. Their parents are doing their things. as the lessons of human rights for over 50 years all of a sudden become deaf, dumb, and blind to the atrocities and genocide that is being committed right before our very own eyes. Not only turning a blind eye, justifying it in the name of the right to defend and collateral damage. What were you expecting, my young friend? Were you expecting these very people to liberate the Palestinians?
Gotta do this.
How easy you forget. Tell me, my young friend, the foundation of this a very long time. My young friends, is the silence, weakness, and the cowardice of leaders. As if they will not die, as if they will meet their God, stand before him on a day, ليس بينه وبين الله حجاب, in which there will be no fire, sweet burden, because witty, this, my friends, is having such a negative effect on many of us. Losing hope in the mercy of Allah, losing hope in the power of Allah, losing hope in the power of Allah. The message today, my dear friends, is simply this. Do not despair. Do not lose hope in Allah. Do not lose hope in the mercy of Allah. Do not lose hope in the power of Allah. Do not lose hope. Let us pray sobriety that help of Allah is very close. And it's only human to be affected what is happening at this moment in time. There's a big in Palestine. If we're affected, then your friends will not be humans. This pain and this pain that you might feel, this is a sign of your iman in this state of iman. Muslim said, إنك رب واحد إن اشتكى عين واشتكى إن اشتكى جسم واشتكى the entire Muslim is like this. If any one limb of his body is in pain, the entire body feels his pain. If the head is in pain, the entire body feels his pain. If the eye is in pain, the entire body feels his pain. If any believer is in pain, his body will feel the pain. The body will feel the pain. The body will feel the pain. His body will feel the pain. The arm will feel the pain. The cheek will feel the pain. And they will listen to their whisper. This is a sign of Allah. This is a sign of Allah. Friends, there is no need to despair, because this is the end of the people of the Muslim. They pick many times in their life. This is not the end of Allah. This is not the end of Islam. This is not the end of Muslims. In this universe, the end to Islam. There is no power in this universe that will end to the Muslims. Is the power the end to Islam and the Muslims. There is no power that can put an end to the Islam and Muslims, and there will be no power to the day of judgment that can put an end to Islam and Muslims other than the power of Allah. Tell me, my young friends, how many empires went? Forget USSR, the former communist Spanish Russia. The oppression, the tyranny, and the injustices carried out against hundreds of millions of Muslims for a day, years on end in Pakistan, Pakistan, 70 years, my young friends, if you were to listen to the oppression and the power of the former USSR, today, about the Crusaders and the rivers of blood flowing down the streets of Jerusalem. In Muslim Spain, when we lost Spain, again the doctors, they sorted 8 million Muslims. The count at this point in time is rather is 20,000. It's a very high number. What is it in comparison to 1.8 million Muslims? So many roots in the rivers, bridges were formed. People walking on those bridges of the bridge with their carts and their donkeys and the horses. These roots. Forget the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire and the dawn of Islam. Tyranny and injustice. One by one they came with their splendor, armies, young friends, they melted like snow. Disappeared, disintegrated. Yet today, my friends, Muslims still alive. They will remain right till the day of judgment. This is not the end of the people of God. This is not the end of Islam. This is not the end of Muslims. My friends, today Islam is the religion. On this planet in which you will not find a believer. You will go to Argentina and you will find people who are you go to Brazil and you will find people declaring in Allah. You go to Venezuela, you will find people declaring the and you will find others. You go to Canada, you will find people declaring in Allah. Find madaris in which the You go to Colombia, you will find people in the you go to Alaska, you will find